Liberalism, it is well to recall this today, is the supreme form of generosity. It is the right which the majority concedes to minorities, and hence it is the noblest cry that has ever resounded in this planet. It announces the determination to share existence with the enemy. More than that, with an enemy that is weak. It was incredible that the human species should have arrived at so noble an attitude, so paradoxical, so refined, so acrobatic, so anti-natural. Hence, it is not to be wondered at that this same humanity should soon appear anxious to get rid of it. It is a discipline too difficult and complex to take firm root on earth. Hey, what's up, world? It's been a while since I made a video like this, where I kind of just rant and try to have a philosophical discussion. I say try to have a philosophical discussion because I'm probably not smart enough to have a real philosophical discussion. So, I'm just going to quickly rant about some ideas that I have about what's happening to liberalism in the world today. I've sort of had this idea floating around for a while. It's something that I've been meditating on. I still haven't got a real concrete idea. I still haven't put this truth in checkmate. But I decided I would come out here and I would talk about this and see what my audience thinks about it. Maybe somebody can leave a comment that will help me flush this thought out a little bit better. So a little while ago, I was thinking about dystopias, or dystopias, however you pronounce it. And I was thinking, most, if not all of the dystopias that we read about are not liberal dystopias. I mean, at least in the classical sense. Maybe they're liberal in the sense where government power is used liberally rather than conservatively, but they're not liberal in the classical liberal sense. They're not liberal in the sense that this quote defines, this quote by Jose Ortega y Gasset. And I thought about this, and I said to myself, if the powers that shouldn't be, if they want to really control society, they're not going to be having a liberal society. As Ortega said here, liberalism, classical liberalism, is the supreme form of generosity. And these people, as we can see by their current acts, are not very generous people. They're not people who are determined to share existence with who they perceive as the enemy. These are people who are basically fascist. And that's really what every dystopia is about. Every dystopia is really a form of fascism. And I use fascism in the correct sense and not the way that the social justice warriors use today. And the correct definition of fascism can be found in my video, Who Are the Real Fascists? I'm not going to go into that here. But yes, all of these dystopias, they're fascist. They're not liberal in this sense. They're not willing to share existence with another lifestyle. They want everyone to be bundled together. Like the fasces, the symbol for fascism, or at least the old symbol for fascism. So I was meditating on this idea, and then I realized maybe what we're living through right now is actually a psychological operation designed to destroy this idea of liberalism. Actually, maybe the word a psychological operation isn't the right phrase. Maybe a better way of putting it is that we are living through a planned series of events, a stage, an act, a play, that is designed to get us to eventually reject this idea of classical liberalism. And while I was meditating on this, I actually thought about one of my favorite movies, Starship Troopers. And I thought about the scene in the beginning of the movie where Rico's teacher says this.
This year we explored the failure of democracy, while the social scientists brought our world to the brink of chaos.
And then this is what I realized, that this is exactly what we're living through. these fake liberals, these liberals that are like, I'll call them stupid liberals. There's a fine line between liberalism and stupidity. And what many of these liberals are doing, or these supposed liberals are doing, is just blatant stupidity. And they're doing it intentionally. They're intentionally trying to bring our world to the brink of chaos. If not our world, our country. I think it's our whole world, though. So that in the future, they can blame these policies. And they can say, no, we need to do away with this. And this is basically the club's motto: order out of chaos. But the order that they're going to be establishing is not going to be a liberal order. It's going to be a fascist order. Or more specifically than a fascist order, it's going to be a fascist, conservative, traditionalist order. And not conservative in the sense that they use government power conservatively, which really should be the correct definition of conservatism, but conservative in the sense that it's going to be trying to conserve this fascistic system, or conserve these traditionalist systems of basically a dictatorship. They're trying to go back to the old ways of doing things, where they will get rid of democracies. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, democracies are terrible. Well, if you have a constitutional democracy that doesn't allow the mob to violate the minorities, if you have a constitution that does what this constitution pretends to do, then democracies are all right. I mean, if you have like an unfettered democracy where people can just fucking vote on basically anything, the mob can just rule and just pass any law that they want, then yes, those democracies are terrible. And that's sort of what they're doing, is that they're treating us like mushrooms. They're keeping us in the dark and feeding us shit. And pretty much everything that they tell us is, I don't want to say the opposite of truth, but it's like a couple of degrees deviated from the truth. And this is a brilliant strategy, where 75% of what they're saying is truth, but then 25% of it has like this twist of just bullshit, quite frankly. And then this gets us to think that we know what we're talking about and we know what we're thinking, when really we don't know jack shit. But I digress. My point is that our future will probably be very similar to what we see in Starship Troopers. And I just want to digress quickly and say that Sargon of Akkad's Politics of Starship Troopers is a load of crap. I made a response video pointing out all of the lies and all of the misinformation and all of the misconstruing of facts that Sargon did in his video, The Politics of Starship Troopers, a while ago. But then I ended up deleting it because I didn't really like the way that I was behaving in that video. I proved my point, but I did so in kind of a childish and hot-headed manner. Maybe I'll make another response video, which would be shorter. I believe my first response video to Sargon of Akkad's Politics of Starship Troopers was like 2 or 3 videos long. It was some absurd length, because there was just so much misinformation that Sargon of Akkad put out there that needed to be addressed. But maybe I'll make like a more concise version of that video. But essentially, if you understand the real politics of Starship Troopers, you'll understand that that's actually more as to where this world is going to, and you'll understand why that is actually a real nightmare. But that's a topic for another video. And this goes to show, I don't want to say how smart the powers that shouldn't be are, but how calculated and organized they are, and how they plan things out centuries in advance. And that's why I believe we probably don't stand much of a chance. Because people are just so stuck in the here and now. We're so short-sighted and unenlightened and divided. And like we're just so caught up in this rat race, just thinking about ourselves. When the club, they don't do that. The club, they don't really think about themselves. It seems like they're thinking about themselves, but they're not. They're all working towards this end goal, and they're willing to sacrifice themselves. Like when we see these people in the media taking a fall, when we see Trump being made a villain, or when we see, Chris Cuomo do what he's doing and Andrew Cuomo do what he's doing, it's all orchestrated. And these people are willing to sacrifice themselves to obtain what they want to obtain. While the rest of us, what are we really willing to sacrifice? You have all these fake truthers out there, all of these gatekeepers, all of these misinfo agents who just, all they do is they cover the stuff in the here and now. There's no philosophy. There's just covering trendy topics so that they can get clicks and views, so that they can get money. It's really sick. And sometimes I wish I was as dumb as them, because then maybe I wouldn't get depressed by these ideas, by these realities. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here. I'll see you all in the next video. Hopefully it's a little happier and jollier and funnier video than this one. And to everyone who has made it to this point in the video, please like, comment, and share my videos. I really appreciate those who have shared my videos. It's made a huge impact on my channel. So I really do appreciate that. I'm seriously just one person over here. I have to do all of this by myself. So it really helps when I get some help from the community. And I really, really, really appreciate that help. And, the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall.